Brutal Barracuda, a Sniper Elite channel.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So recently I managed to get hands on with a brand new, never before seen mission in Sniper Elite Resistance. So first of all, a huge thank you to Rebellion for giving me early access and allowing me to play a little slice of the game early. So naturally, there is much to talk about. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing various things that I discovered during my short time with the game. Now, I'm not one for big intros, so let's just jump in. But first, an obligatory spoiler warning. I will be talking about many different things in this video. If you don't want this mission or certain aspects of the game to be spoiled, then look away now. Okay, so the mission I played was Mission 3, which takes place in Fourvière, which is a district of Lyon in the south of France. Here we are tasked with basically finding out what the hell the Nazis are up to. We have to infiltrate a hotel to grab some documents, then we head on over to a train station to grab some more. So plenty of intel gathering, but hey, at least there's no AA guns to blow up. So then, the very first thing I did when I started my hands-on preview was to see what that new third grenade option was, which was seen teased multiple times in different videos. We already have a normal grenade and a sticky grenade, but Resistance has added a third grenade type, and it turns out that it is in fact an impact grenade. So congrats to whoever it was that guessed that. But it may not be what you were expecting, because it is in fact a non-lethal impact grenade, sending any enemies you hit into the land of Nod, which is fine. I'm not a huge fan of the non-lethal stuff myself, but it's nice to see new equipment added to the game. Disappointingly though, outside of weapons, this appears to be the only new piece of equipment. Anyone hoping to see the trip mines or S-mines make a return to the campaign are going to be quite disappointed. The very next thing that I did was I checked the difficulty, because my number one burning question regarding Sniper Elite Resistance is, have they added Authentic Plus difficulty yet? Because I've made my opinions of Sniper Elite 5's Authentic difficulty being far too easy quite clear multiple times. But as it turns out, I was unable to change the difficulty during my time with the game. I was stuck playing on medium difficulty. Even clicking on the difficulty in the options did nothing, so I could not see what other difficulties there were. So unfortunately, I have no idea if Authentic Plus is being added to the game. I guess we're just going to have to wait a little longer to find out. Something else that I discovered is that the Kar 98 rifle is in fact in the game. Now you may think, why is that surprising? Well, for those who are unaware, pre-ordering the game is what gets you access to the Kar 98 rifle in Sniper Elite Resistance. So basically, the Kar 98 rifle is in the game, and you can pick it up and use it if you wish, if you manage to find one, but you are unable to equip it in your loadout. So if you do find one and decide to use it, you'll only be able to use it until it runs out of ammo and is discarded. If you want to be able to use the Kar 98 normally and equip it in your loadout, you will have to pre-order the game, or end up buying it separately. Similar to the P1938 suppressed pistol from Sniper Elite 5, which was also a pre-order bonus that was made available for purchase separately for those who didn't pre-order it. And speaking of weapons that are in the game but cannot be equipped in your loadout, the Kar 98 is not alone. The MP44 or the STG44 is another weapon that can be found around the map but isn't included in the base game of equipable loadout weapons. So anyone out there who always uses the MP44, myself included, will have to find a different SMG. Another weapon that can be found which isn't in the base game of equipable loadout weapons is the suppressed P1938, which, as I already mentioned, was the pistol that was given to all those who pre-ordered Sniper Elite 5. And it turns out it's the pistol that the Gestapo use within the game. I find it bizarre that these guns are in the game but can't be equipped in your loadout, so I wouldn't be surprised to see these as DLC weapons in the future. Unless, of course, there are ways to unlock them within the game. The P1938 and the MP44 are both Axis weapons, so you never know, they could probably, potentially, possibly be rewards earned during the Axis invasion mode. Fingers crossed. A new weapon that I came across was the anti-tank weapon, the Piat. I think I'm saying that right. Now, I didn't actually use it on a tank, so I have no idea how effective it will be, nor how it will differ from the Panzerfaust. But in real life, it could be used as a mortar, which is interesting. It got me thinking about the mortar crews that were cut from Sniper Elite 5.
Mortar crew. They'll be dangerous. Better neutralize them.
Will they perhaps be included in Sniper Elite Resistance? Well, having played the third mission and having seen footage of the first two missions, I see very little evidence of mortar crews being in the game. But with that being said, there are plenty more missions, and then more importantly, all the propaganda missions, so it's possible they might be included in those. But at the same time, I see no evidence of any of the cut content that I mentioned in my previous cut content video. Cut content that I was hoping would make an appearance in Sniper Elite Resistance. But it is possible that the propaganda missions were originally planned for Sniper Elite 5. So it's possible all the cut content I mentioned, such as shooting paratroopers at the sky, mortar crews and planes attacking Carl from the sky, maybe all of that was part of the propaganda missions. So when the propaganda missions got cut from Sniper Elite 5, the whole lot got cut with it. That would make sense. So I've got some seriously high expectations when it comes to the propaganda missions, and I really hope that we will see some of these cool features that were cut from Sniper Elite 5. Even in the Resistance reveal trailer, we see a plane dropping a bomb.
Fuck a Wolf. Gotta keep out of sight. An air attack's not going to be easy to deal with.
Could this be a tease to the propaganda missions? I really want Rebellion to hurry up and give us more info. I need to know what these propaganda missions are all about. Because unfortunately, I didn't get much info on the propaganda missions during my time with the game. But that's not to say I didn't get any info. Now, we already know we need to find propaganda posters in order to unlock propaganda missions. Well, as it turns out, I did in fact manage to find the propaganda poster for Mission 3, which unlocks a challenge, which I assume is the propaganda mission. Unfortunately, the propaganda missions are most likely accessed through the main menu, so unfortunately I couldn't give them a try. But whilst checking various weapons and attachments at a workbench, I did discover a few things about propaganda missions. First of all, in order to unlock the M1912, which is one of the game's new pistols, it says you need to complete each type of propaganda mission, and here it says 0 of 3. So we now know there are 3 types of propaganda missions. Well, after searching further, I discovered in order to unlock the Mosin Nagant, yes, the Mosin is in the game, it says we need to complete all propaganda sniping missions. So we know one of these propaganda mission types is sniping. Then, to unlock various attachments for the Berthier rifle, which is this game's default rifle, it says we need to complete all propaganda combat missions. So we know the second type is combat missions. And finally, in order to unlock various attachments for the UD40, which is a new SMG to Sniper Elite, we need to complete all propaganda stealth missions. So sniping, combat and stealth are the 3 types of propaganda missions. So completing these propaganda missions will in fact reward us with new guns and attachments. Now, in a previous video I mentioned that I believe parts of the maps are locked off, which is where the propaganda missions will take place. And I still believe this to be true, with a nice big section of this map being blacked out as well, which I think is reserved for the propaganda mission. But the propaganda missions weren't the only info I managed to get from the workbench. No, many attachments and weapons require us to complete various missions in order to unlock them. Well, I can confirm I saw various weapons that are unlocked by completing missions up to mission 8. So we know there are at least 8 missions in the game. A gun can also be unlocked by finding the workbench in the prologue. Now, is the prologue mission 1 or is the prologue before mission 1? Because I didn't see any guns or attachments that are unlocked by completing mission 1. I saw guns unlocked by completing the prologue and then mission 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, but not mission 1. So are there 8 missions or are there 8 missions plus the prologue? Well, my guess would be, as there are 3 types of propaganda missions, 8 missions plus the prologue would give us 9 propaganda missions in total, which would be the perfect number to give us 3 stealth, 3 sniping and 3 combat propaganda missions. So I fully expect to see a prologue and then 8 additional missions. But with that being said, the game says there are 3 stealth propaganda missions, 3 sniping propaganda missions, but only 1 combat propaganda mission. Now, is this a mistake? Should it say 0 of 3 instead of 0 of 1? Or are there only 7 propaganda missions in the game? I imagine, and I certainly hope, this is just a mistake, and hopefully there will be 3 types of each propaganda mission. Now, going back briefly to cut content, I want to talk about hiding in trucks. Now, we know it was cut from Sniper Elite 5 because we see Carl in the back of a truck in the Sniper Elite 5 trailer. Adding more fuel to the fire, we see what appears to be an invader in the back of a truck in the Resistance trailer. And now there are more signs that hiding in trucks might be a thing. Now, I didn't have time to test this properly because in my short time with the game, I wanted to be sure that I could capture footage of the complete mission, which is available on my channel if you want to go and check that out. But interestingly, I was able to climb in the back of trucks, which we could not do in Sniper Elite 5. What I wanted to try and do was jump in the back of a moving truck, but I didn't manage to do it. But interestingly, not all trucks can be climbed in. This truck, for example, that we saw the invader in the trailer, it wouldn't let me jump in. Maybe then only the invader can jump in and move around the map in the back of trucks. There is so much I wanted to try if only I had more time. So will we be able to hide in trucks? I do not have the answer at this time. The pigeons from Sniper Elite 5's Mission 3 Spy Academy seem to have made it into Sniper Elite Resistance's Mission 3. I spotted a few during my playthrough, though I never actually shot any. This map seems quite open in that there are some long lines of sight. One of the things I enjoyed about Sniper Elite 4's maps were the big open areas with long lines of sight, so it's good to see that kind of map design here. Personally, I feel as though playing Invasion mode on Sniper Elite 4's maps would have been much more enjoyable than playing on Sniper Elite 5's maps, because it would consist of more long-range sniper duels and less close-quarters combat, which is what tends to happen in Sniper Elite 5 much of the time. Now, I need to play more than just an hour to get a good feel for the map, but I feel as though playing Invasion on this map would result in more sniper duels and less shotgun battles. So that is a fantastic thing. The mission itself seems quite big compared to the map. The map, I think, makes the mission look a bit smaller than it actually is. I need to play it for longer to be sure, but the map didn't feel small. I mean, it didn't feel massive, but it's certainly bigger than the Dam and Dead Drop, which are the 2 missions that Rebellion has already showed us. I like the fact that this mission has friendly NPCs. Now, it's not a big deal, but personally, I do like bumping into some friendlies and having a bit of a chat. This was first introduced in Sniper Elite 5 with its DLC map, Rough Landing, and I hope to see more friendly NPCs in other missions.
Oh, thank goodness you're not a German.
This map had 3 exfiltration points, which is great. Hopefully all the other maps have multiple exfiltration points as well. I certainly don't want to encounter the same problem we had during an invasion on Conqueror. I like that there was different routes up and around the outside of the hotel. There seemed to be quite a few different ways to climb up drain pipes and in through different windows. I do enjoy climbing about the maps in Sniper Elite, and I do hope to see plenty more opportunities to do so in other missions. It was great to see more snipers on the map. This map had 4 snipers that I saw. The more snipers, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Mission 2 Dead Drop had 3 or 4 snipers as well, so we appear to be getting more sniper enemies, which is great. I just wish to God there was an option to turn off the sniper's glint, because the glint from Sniper Elite 5 that gives away the enemy sniper's position is back. I'd much prefer to get my binos out, scout the rooftops, find the sneaky sniping swine and then blow his brains out, instead of having the game show me exactly where they are. I really think it takes away from the fun of trying to outsmart the snipers, and certainly makes things so much easier. So I really hope Rebellion, at the very least, add an option in the custom difficulty settings to disable the enemy sniper's scope glint. And it would be nice if there was an option so it affects all players during an invasion as well. I really want Rebellion to go all out with the custom difficulty options. Let us turn off the scope glint if that's what we want to do. Let us turn up the enemy's damage so we die after 1 shot if that's what we want. If we aren't going to get Authentic Plus, then at least let us create our own Authentic Plus using the custom difficulty options. Another thing that I do like is the weapons. Here in Sniper Elite Resistance, we get a ton of weapons that we have not seen in a Sniper Elite game before. So let's take a look at all of the weapons that we can equip in our loadout. First, the sidearms. So we have the Model 1935A, the trusty Well Rod, the Star Ruby, the high-powered 9mm, the Nagant M1895, and the M1912. For secondaries, we have the Model 1907, the UD42, the Irma 36, the Maz 38, the M1918 Bar, the SIG MKMS, the Sten gun, and the Trench gun. And for the rifles, we have the Berthier 1916, the Lebel 1886, the Lee Enfield, the Maz 44, the M1 Garand, finally, the Mosin Nagant, and the ZK 420S. So in total, we have 21 weapons, with 15 of them being new weapons that were not present in Sniper Elite 5. Not to mention the Kar 98 and the M1911, which are bonuses if we pre-order the game. Plus the other guns that can be found around the map, like the MP44, the M1938 and the Luger. Plus the new weapons like the Piat and the FP45, and who knows what other weapons we will come across. So weapons wise, I'm quite happy. Not everyone will be happy, mind, because with the introduction of 15 new weapons, that means many weapons, not all, but many weapons from Sniper Elite 5 are not available in Sniper Elite Resistance, such as my Springfield rifle, most likely along with my glorious no-glint scope. That was perfect for dealing with invaders. Interestingly then, with the exception of the Irma 36, all of the Axis weapons have been removed from our loadout. Now we know these guns already exist because we were using them in Sniper Elite 5. So then, the question is, what are Rebellion planning to do with them? Are they going to just sprinkle them in around the maps like we've already seen with the Kar 98, MP44, Luger and the P1938? Perhaps they will add them as Axis invasion rewards to give us more things to unlock, because I'm really hoping there are more things to unlock in invasion mode. Or will they do what they seem to be doing with the Gavir and just sell it back to us via DLC packs? I guess we will find out soon enough. Another new piece of equipment that has been added to Sniper Elite Resistance is a new special ammo. Here we can see explosive rounds. Now, I didn't find these during my playthrough. This image is courtesy of Duckwit. If you want to see the explosive rounds in action, you will have to check out his YouTube channel. Now for the few things that I didn't like. And that is pretty much all of the problems in Sniper Elite 5 are here in Sniper Elite Resistance. Melee animation glitches, enemies stuck in investigation loops, unvaultable walls, trouble picking up items, enemies spotting us through walls. It's all back. It's like none of the annoying issues in Sniper Elite 5 have even been looked at, let alone addressed. All that's been done is they've used the exact blueprint of Sniper Elite 5 and just made new missions. Now I know this is not a proper sequel, it's clearly just a spin-off, and I know I haven't seen the propaganda missions yet and I've got my fingers crossed for those, but my initial impressions from what I've seen so far from this early access and from the first two missions that Rebellion themselves have shown us, this appears to be basically just more Sniper Elite 5 missions. A standalone DLC, if you will. Aside from weapons and missions, there is very little new here. One thing that really bugged me is that the skills that we unlock are exactly the same as the skills that we have in Sniper Elite 5. We don't even get a single new skill. All the melee animations are exactly the same. We have a new protagonist who would surely have some different hand-to-hand techniques, and Rebellion have some awesome melee animations in Zombie Army 4 that they could have brought over, but no, literally everything is as it was in Sniper Elite 5. I'm not going to comment on the AI because I've not played the game enough, but I honestly don't expect to see any changes, and I certainly didn't notice any. I didn't like that there was only one optional objective, and I wasn't too impressed that of the 3 main objectives, 2 of those were simply collecting documents. I think a bit more creativity in the objective department would be nice to see, and that includes the kill list target. On this mission, the challenge is to drop cargo on their head. In Mission 2, we saw that you had to use a rat bomb, all the stuff that we've seen in Sniper Elite 5. Just being reused. There was one quite noticeable moment when Ari Orca's voice sounded very much like a different voice actor. I'm not quite sure what is going on here.
Could do some real damage with this SMG.
If we're going to have Ari talking as much as he does, then we really need his voice to be consistent. But to be fair, this was the only time I noticed it. And then the enemy density is still not great. There could be and should be much more enemies on the map. But seeing as the core of this game is exactly the same as Sniper Elite 5, I'm not surprised to see an enemy limit clearly still in place. Now obviously this game is still in development, but honestly I don't expect much will change between now and launch day. But obviously I will hold off judgment until I get my hands on the full game, so be sure to check out my review when the game launches. Overall though, I'm still excited to get my hands on this. I'm always excited for more Sniper Elite. I would have kept buying Sniper Elite 5 missions if Rebellion kept putting them out, and this appears to be just that, more of the same. I mean, if this game has 9 missions, plus the 4 that we get in the Season Pass, which includes the Kill Hitler mission, that's 13 new missions. The deluxe version of the game, which includes all 13 missions, is £70. Now, £70 for more of the same might seem unfair, but £70 divided by 13 missions, that's about £5 a mission. And if Sniper Elite 5 continue to put out DLC missions at £5 a time, I'd be buying every single one. But then again, I am a little Sniper Elite whore and I love it. But at the same time, I do completely understand if people might have a problem with the price point, considering there isn't a whole lot new here and everything is just being reused. Again, we haven't seen the whole game yet and there's a lot riding on these propaganda missions. I just hope they don't disappoint. But all I'm saying is you really need to temper your expectations, because this game is not Sniper Elite 6. If you are one of those players who played Sniper Elite 5 and you weren't really a fan and you quickly went back to Sniper Elite 4, then this game is very unlikely to win you over. But if you're one of the players that loved Sniper Elite 5 and you just want more of that, then you're probably going to be very happy with this. Personally, I really enjoyed Sniper Elite 5. Yes, I had my issues with it and I do prefer Sniper Elite 4 for various reasons, but I still enjoyed Sniper Elite 5 and I'm excited to get my hands on this. I'm excited to see the rest of the missions, I'm excited to see what the propaganda missions are all about, and I'm very much looking forward to killing some invaders on some new maps. But am I a little bit disappointed that it's just so similar to Sniper Elite 5? I mean, sure, a little, but I knew going in exactly what I was getting. Having watched Rebellion streams showing off the first 2 missions, it was clear that this game is just going to be more Sniper Elite 5. And I'm happy that we have more Sniper Elite to play whilst we wait for Sniper Elite 6. This game has probably cost Rebellion a fraction of what it cost to develop Sniper Elite 5. And if they can increase the profits by reusing assets again to put out another Sniper Elite game in a shorter time frame, then I guess I'm okay with that. I just hope Rebellion put all these profits into making Sniper Elite 6 the best it can be. I mean, if we didn't have Resistance coming, we would likely be waiting a couple more years for Sniper Elite 6 anyway. So I'm happy to have more Sniper Elite to play whilst we wait. But what I want to know is, how do you guys feel about Sniper Elite Resistance? Are you looking forward to more Sniper Elite 5? Or would you have much preferred Rebellion just get on with Sniper Elite 6? Be sure to let me know down below. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. It really does help the channel to grow. This is a dedicated Sniper Elite channel, so hit the subscribe button to be kept up to date on all things Sniper Elite. And I will see you guys in the next video!
Brutal Barracuda, a Sniper Elite channel.